layer on this little caveat. If he doesn't have any setbacks, he'll be able to play some minutes against Cincy. He's done that well. He looks good.
And I guess Albert was out here. I don't know if that was necessarily expected. Is that just a straightforward, he's here?
He's here.
And then Alex and Raul are the other two that I guess there's some possibility they'll be available.
Yeah. Look, we're still working with people on that. I'll have more info later in the week. But, I'm confident. I'm upbeat. I think, both El Salvador and Peru know the importance of our match. So we'll just try and reiterate that and see where their decision comes in at.
And so is that I don't know the right way to put this, but how much say do the players have in what ultimately happens, and then how much are they at the whim of whatever their federation wants to do?
Well, the players obviously have total control, but no player wants to not play for his national team. I mean, that's the conundrum. I mean, Raul is certainly very pleased about getting back with a new coach. Hugo knows Alex very well, but it's always the player's final decision. But if you snub your nose at your national team, chances are you ain't going to make it back. So conversations have to happen, respectful conversations have to happen, and that's what we're trying to do.
And so it sounds, if I'm parsing this, it sounds like the players wouldn't mind being here, but they definitely only want to be here with the blessing of their. They want to be clear. Leave on good terms.
I think that's an accurate way of saying that. I think they want to, look. Alex is there to train. Just show his face, because they have important games coming up in March, I think, against the U.S. So this is the only time that El Salvador will have their players together prior to that tournament or game. And so, Alex wants to, obviously be part of those games with El Salvador, but he also understands and recognizes the pinch we're in.
When you look back at the Vancouver game, how much of maybe the defensive woes that happened had to do with a team that wanted to maybe get out there and each player wanted to do more from their initial role or anything like that?
No. I've actually tried to forget about that Vancouver game, but it's nearly impossible. The 2 goals we gave up, again, this is a team sport, but the first one starts at midfield, chance to stop it here, some bad decision making back here, and a tap in at the far post. Not one of our better moments defensively. And then the throw in, again, that space top of the box, we talk about it all the time. Not a good goal to give up. That was our Achilles heel, 6, 7, 8 games ago. We were giving up goals. You can add that one to the list.
With a week and a half between the Vancouver game and the Cincinnati game, considering that we're looking at must wins over the next 3, how have you strategically put together this week and a half, training wise, off days, and given the players the days they need?
Great question. So we had originally scheduled them to have 3 days off, but I needed a group to come in yesterday because they're the group that's probably going to play against Cincy. Need to ramp up some training work with them to make sure they're 90 minutes fit, or as close to 90 minutes as possible. Then we'll have a simulated game tomorrow. We don't know the exact timings because we still got to plan actual length of the game, but probably 45 minutes. Probably make a couple of tweaks in the lineup during that 45 minutes just to take a look at some different things. And then we'll give them 1 day off on Friday, and then we'll have a 3-day build into Cincy where we really bear down on the tactics, for that game.
Going back to Cristian really quick, a couple weeks ago you had mentioned the Kansas City game. Was there something that you saw over these last couple weeks that turned the corner for him to allow him to be possible for this?
It's just how he feels physically. I mean, they release things in here. I don't know exactly all the exact doctor terminology, but they try and release some nerves in there. That's what was giving him pain. It's not like he can go out there and if he does too much, redo your ACL or, it's nothing like that. He just has to be pain tolerant. Obviously, there is some risk. We're not going to force him out there if it's still really painful, but that particular procedure, is a little different. So he's feeling good. I know he wants to play. He's a tough kid. I know he wants to, have a couple games under his belt in case he gets selected to go to, the World Cup. So he's motivated.
Go ahead.
We've talked a lot about Josh and Danny over these last few weeks. Did anything happen in this last game that changed your view of them?
No.
What did you think of their performance?
Their
performances.
Overall, collectively as a group, I didn't think it was a great performance. Individually, those two, Vancouver did a good job of making it difficult for those guys to kind of find the ball from the back line to midfield up front. I don't think that connection was there as good as it was against Austin. And so the learning curve there, the film we show them, just their angles, sometimes being a little bit more just aware of the space and standing in a space rather than trying to, move 5-6 yards. Maybe it's just a half a yard to open yourself up. Some of those little nuances. And, it's still a learning curve. I mean, it's 3 games for that pair. Yes, you can say they played a lot of games for Defiance. Yes, agreed. But it's this level now. It's a little different.
Jackson, go ahead.
Going a little bit off that, Holden Barry obviously not back, but he did make the list for best 22 under 22. How does that feel as a coach that you have a young guy like that in the list and a guy like Danny that was also in the conversation and many of the writers' votes in?
Yeah. I mean, the individual accolades for the club, whether it be in the front office or on the field, they're always good. Shows that we are a big club, a good club, a successful club. So, yeah, we're proud of the kid.
Jackson was getting a bunch of starts early in the year, and now Javi's kind of taken that spot back. How have you seen Jackson react to overall the course of this season and then grow as a person and as a player?
Yeah, maybe he also, he had Yaimar thinking a few things because early in the year, remember, Yaimar was out and Jackson stepped in there. So maybe it's both of the veteran center backs that, took notice of Jackson. We certainly did as a staff. He's a promising young center back. Just needs a little bit more experience dealing with the particular players, the speedy guys in our league. But he's got a great future. And how does he handle it? He handles it like any good professional would, in my opinion. Respect the senior players, but make sure that you're making them aware that, yeah, I want to play. And, he's been great in the locker room. He's a good, nice kid.
What did you make of Xavi Arriaga had a post on social media yesterday that he ended up taking down and apologizing for? What did you make of that whole situation?
Well, you want my personal answer or the club answer?
Well, personal answer.
Okay, personal answer, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. I mean, people are who they are. It's not TV trying to brainwash people. I don't know who that guy was that he took the quote from, but I personally don't agree with it. From a club standpoint, I'll answer that one too. I mean, look, a lot of people were hurt about that Instagram post, and they have a right to be hurt. And Javi apologized, and when he comes back, I will have a good conversation with him. Okay, try and help him out. And then we also, within the club, have a really good social, equity network, and he'll sit down with them and talk things through and just make sure he understands that what he said wasn't correct.
And so it sounds like that you are taking it as an opportunity to start a dialogue and to
Sure.
maybe have a conversation about, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Race, equity, gender, all of that sort of stuff, for sure. You can look at it as an opportunity. I mean, I saw his apology, and these guys have been talking to Javi. I think he's sincere in his apology. He still said it, but I think he's sincere. And so we'll coach him. We'll make him think about it and reflect on it and really do some deep thoughts as to what he posts out there on Instagram and how that can affect people.
Speaking of that, Coach, I mean, he's relatively new to social media. Maybe a year ago, he didn't even have any social medias. You know, how much does that, as a club, you guys maybe think about in the future, getting people a little bit more training?
The MLS does a good job of every year, before the season starts, they send people here. They work with all of the players, new, old. Javi's been through it a couple times. They tell the players, or they try and guide the players about what they post out on social media. You know, it takes one 1/100th of a second to hit the send button, but then what you put out there is out there. It's not going away.
Ryan, the biggest issue seems not necessarily that those are his views, and respectfully, those are his personal views, but it seemed as though there was a lack of judgment in the people he surrounds himself with that do not advise him to post stuff like that or not post stuff like that. Do you have any comment in regards to that? Again, I don't agree personally with his comments, but I do respect the fact that he has the ability and the freedom to make comments as such.
Sure, it's America. We have the right to free speech. I get it. But I don't know who's guiding him. I don't know who his, guy that runs his Instagram account. I don't know what kind of guidance he is getting. So that's where maybe we can step in and help him, along with what you said. I mean, yeah, it is a free country, but we all have to understand that what we say sometimes can hurt other people's feelings. You have to acknowledge that. So I think Twitter and Instagram, if you want me to get on my soapbox, is just reflective of a lot of the divide that we find in this country on many different topics. And so, people use it because they can hide behind a 120 character statement or on their Instagram post. They can do that. But when I have a conversation with you face to face, then there's more respect. And then if you say something that I don't like, I can respond back and we actually have a conversation. People don't talk to each other enough these days, in my opinion. So when Jeremiah and I talk about stuff, it's he and I. When I do it with Jackson, it's a conversation. So that's where social media in this country sometimes goes overboard with people posting, their opinion, but without much thought as to how it affects others.